Okay. What in the world was that? You should be able to hear me now. Let me know. You hear me now? Okay, yeah, some random setting changed the microphone setting to like nothing I touched. What is this? I swear. Let's go. Makes me wonder if anything was recorded. Where am I at here? Hang on just a second. Here we go. Is it gonna work? Are we working? No? All right. So you just came in from the shop to coil some more rings. Got a new jig set up to cut 16 gauge 1/4 inch rings for more captures. Nice. Saw my stream popped up and stopped in to say hi. Well, hi. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate you. Okay. So where are we at here? Let's go to the overhead camera. Let me check. Where can I... I think that's solid. Too many cameras, too many different screens. So I've got this anodized titanium cube, 9x9, over 7,000 rings, right? And I was going to add all of these unanodized titanium rings to it, but I only have enough of these to put 1/2 a row on each side. And so I think that the best course of action is to stop here and go from there. Do something else with these other titanium rings, you know? So let's figure out what I'm going to do. I think anodizing some dice bags would be cool, right? What else could we make? We can't make jewelry with this stuff, so that's why we're using it to... Excuse me. That's why we're using it for these ridiculous projects that... Hendrix, thank you for the follow. Alright, let's see here. Reminds you of a board cube. Can I make a sphere from the rest? Like a sphere as in a solid sphere? Or just make another ball? I don't know what I can do. I'm going to start making some 4-in-1. We're going to start there. So I'm kind of irritated with the fact that I really don't have enough rings to make the cube into a 12 by 12 by 12, right? This cube. I don't want it in the way. A Dyson sphere would be cool, just a shell but solid ball. Would be cool too. I don't know what a Dyson sphere is, or how to even go about making one. Let's see here. What is a Dyson sphere? Let me Google it real quick. I think that Dyson. Yeah, I don't know if I could make a Dyson sphere. Not gonna lie. Oh, okay, my leg's numb. Alright, let's get going here. I think what I'm gonna do is make a dice bag, and then we'll go from there. Dice bag won't use up all the rings, so I will have more rings to use. Hey Peg, how you doing? Yeah, you caught a Sean stream. Yeah, it's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Hasn't? Oh, I had music going. What happened? Let's fix that. What in the world? Come on. No? That's something. I'm gonna leave it there. All right. So where was I? What to do with this titanium? Gonna figure it out. I think the first thing we'll make is a dice bag, and then I'm also thinking that instead of buying the anodizer, I'm going to send out the cube and whatever I make from this titanium and have someone else anodize it for me, because I really haven't made a decision as to whether or not I want to get a cheap anodizer or the more expensive one. I lean towards the cheaper because I don't know how many titanium projects I'll have in the future. But if I get the more expensive one, then I can do more titanium projects in the future, right? So you buy the expensive anodizer and then you're doing more titanium projects, and it's kind of like this self-fulfilling prophecy. Whereas if you buy the cheap anodizer, if you use it one time and never use it ever again, then it doesn't really matter. right? So I can skip all of that and send it out to someone else to anodize it for me, or to attempt to anodize it. Theoretically, this cube should be able to be anodized, should be fine. But because it's been anodized previously, I don't know what colors will and won't take. So, alright. Come on. What else? Okay, so there's that thought process. Skip the decision making and send it to someone else to anodize, right? Buy the expensive one and plan on having titanium projects in the future. Buy the cheap one, use it for this one project and never use it again, right? But there's also the reality that I want to have the capability to do all the stuff that I want to do via chainmail in-house, right? I want a ringinator. I want to be able to make my own specific sized rings when I need to. And I've only needed to a couple of times, but you know. I want a CO2 laser or a laser engraver for engraving things to make them more decorative. Like clasps and stuff. I want a setup to make riveted mail so that I can make riveted mail. And it's like, I'm not opposed to spending the money. I just send it out so it becomes more practical to do it in-house. Yeah, that is how you heat treat your blades. Not worth spending $6,400 on the size you need. Yeah. That's understandable. That's another thing. A whole forge and anvil and kiln and all types of equipment I want to buy. EDM wire drill is a tool for cleaner, tighter cuts than even a saw can do. It's what you're looking into for your riveted mail versus drilling them all. There you go. You'll have to learn me all about that. I'm just, you know, throwing my thoughts out there. I don't know what the right decision is, but being able to get do all the stuff I want to do with chainmail here at the house is my goal. You know, if I want to make a anodized titanium shirt, I can make one. If I want to make a riveted shirt, I can make one. That would be ideal. So I don't mind buying rings from other ring manufacturers. I encourage it, right? A lot. Especially for people just getting started. Buy a kit. Don't try and make your own rings or anything. Don't even worry about any of that. Find someone who sells kits. I've got a lot of people to recommend. Buy a kit and see if, A, if you like it first, but B, so that you're not investing a ton of money into tools to make rings and having those rings come out looking like crap, and then spending a lot of time and energy on working on this project just to have it come out looking like trash. And I've done that, and it sucks. So I don't have any issue with people choosing to purchase rings. I definitely do. And it doesn't always work out, as you can tell. These rings are all purchased, and I cannot use them for what I was going to use them for, so. These are the rings, if you follow me on TikTok. I recently did a video where I crushed up a ceramic coffee cup and ran these rings through with the broken up ceramic. Right? Tons of fun. Broke the bucket that I used, so I need a new bucket now for crushing the coffee can, but the barbs did come off the titanium. But there's a discoloration of these rings now that I need to address, so they will get tumbled some more and cleaned and etched before they're anodized and all that fun stuff. Moral of the story is, don't break up a coffee cup to use ceramic to deburr your titanium rings. Just buy some ceramic media. Not the worst I've ever had. It did work, but you tend to have pliers. Where are we at here? Tend to have pliers and rings on hand to toss folks and encourage them to learn how to make rings. Would tell them about TRL. Skip that step, but it's cheaper to make rings. But busy folks' time is worth more to some than others. Today there are so many ring makers to list. Goes on, but still encourage folks to attempt ring making as it gets them making rings from any scrap wire. Yeah, I mean, different strokes for different folks. I can only speak from my experience. I spent way too much time making my own rings just for never improving on the ring making process and just having these garbage rings. So, and then once I found the Ring Lord and other companies that manufacture rings, it was like, all right, game on, you know. I can do the important thing, which is for me to weave rings into something, not spend my time making rings. And especially, you know, I don't know. You can always learn how to make rings. You like the art, some like the weaving, spend your money where you prefer, yeah. Oh, my eyeball, my eyeball. So what is the view over here? It's kind of something, okay. Right. So the other night when I went live, there were 50 new followers by the end of the night, which was really cool. Steadily heading towards our goal of 10,000 so that I can get a TikTok stream key. I heard a rumor that you can go live if you have a TikTok shop. But I don't know if that's using OBS software or the live studio on TikTok or whatever, right? It looked like if you just opened up a new account, opened up a TikTok shop, you could go live right away instead of getting to the first 1,000 followers, right? So I don't think that it's really relevant for me to open up a TikTok shop. And I have had so many bad times trying to integrate my website with any other platform. Facebook, Instagram, Etsy, what have you. Is this a solid cube? Yes. All rings, about 7,000 of them. We finished. We were working on it last night, and we were going to add more to it today with these titanium rings here, but I don't have enough of these rings to do anything more than half a row on each side of the cube, so I'm calling it quits on this cube. Holy cow. Yeah, it's about, okay, what's 7.4 times 947? Those are the numbers. $7,000 some odd rings. And now I'm making some European 4-in-1 out of this titanium because I want to make a cube. You could probably knock someone out with it. Maybe. It's titanium, so it's, what, 2/3 the weight of steel? Hey, Jeep and Jamber, how you doing? The weaving continues. Yes, I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. Yeah. So I was working on this cube last night, got 50 new followers, and made 21 cents, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I have another larger, solider cube of stainless steel that weighs more. You could probably knock someone out with that for sure. This one, it's pretty light at 7.4 ounces. That's half a pound. Half a pound is 8 ounces. Right? It really feels like these titanium rings that I'm working on in this little E4-in-1 patch here, it feels like they are a different grade of titanium than these anodized ones here. They're not nearly as springy. Kind of glad I didn't combine them. Nice, thank you. Thank you for the follow, Scott. One more follower on our way to 10,000. We're getting there. Then I won't have this awkward setup where my phone is in my workspace and Jeep and Jammer's got pretty good. He's pretty good. Just ordered pizza wings. I'm assuming pizza and wings. Can't beat that. Pizza and wings. Traditional American food. Brought over by the Pilgrims in the 1500s. Fine American dining. So, where are we at on this little thing? Is this 2.5 inches? Almost 3. All right. There is, yeah, really quite a difference in the opening and closing of these rings that I'm working with right now than the rings I was working with last night. These do not feel springy at all. They kind of feel kind of dead, actually, which is weird. Titanium usually is very springy, and it's very difficult to close because every time you think you close it, it opens back up. Alright, so far things have been pretty good. No one's hopped on the live and made fun of me for how I'm not weaving, not doing any tricks for weaving European 4-in-1 quickly. Grade 5 versus grade 23 difference. Yeah, something like that. I don't know what the difference is. There is clearly one. And I'm glad that I decided to stop working on this cube in order to make something else, because I don't know if how well that would have gone. And there's too many of these rings that are, even though the burrs are removed, they definitely feel a lot smoother than when I first started working with them. Right, like the burrs are almost all gone. And these probably could have been used for something had the burrs been removed before I purchased them. Grade 5, most folks fight it. Grade 1 and 2 are more akin to stainless. Grade 23 is more like a soft stainless. Yeah, this is more like a soft stainless. There's no bounce back or spring to it, really. Doesn't feel like... It doesn't feel like it wants to do anything other than go exactly where you place it, right? Ira Dengenstein, thank you for the follow and the share. Love, line, peace, and I'm going to assume that's happiness. Thank you for the follow. Come on. There's a whole other aspect to the science of anodizing, right? Is how do different grades of titanium anodize? Chloe Hickman, thank you for the follow. Oh, did I mention? Okay, so we got a bunch of new followers last night when we were streaming, and then I made 21 cents in diamonds. I was so excited about that when I found that out. I've never gotten any money for streaming, and I made 21 cents, which is like 10.5 cents an hour for the 2 hours that I worked last night. DC Friedel, thank you for the follow. I was excited. It's like all my time and effort finally rewarded me with 21 cents. And I know I'm being a bit facetious. Is that the word? I'm like making light of the situation, but it is cool. It is cool to work on something for a really long time and then to see that someone wants to send you money. So that was cool. What else are we doing? Music seems to be at the perfect setting. That's good, because at the start of this stream, I didn't have a microphone or music or anything. Take notes so you remember later. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I got started, and I was talking, and there was no volume. My microphone, another device had been selected to be the microphone output, or the microphone input, whichever it was. And it was not my microphone. And I had not changed the setting at all. So I don't know. I'm gonna make this 6 inches long. 2, 3.5, okay. And then we'll loop it around back on itself, and I can hear my son screaming. I wonder what that's about. Michael shared the live video. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who follows and shares and joins me on this journey of using up all the rings in my basement. Random number user, thank you for the follow. All right. Come on. So we've got we got the setup working right now. And I remember when I was doing a lot of streaming before, it would work and work and work, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of stuff would go wrong, and you'd have to go through and figure out why your Wi-Fi wasn't working anymore, why you weren't getting signal in the basement. If you put the hard line into the computer, why wouldn't it get any signal? It was always a, what's the word? It was always not tempest, not contemptuous, difficult. It was always difficult. So, and that's just, I don't know if that's just the nature of streaming or what, but Pedro Mejias shared the video. Thank you. All right. So we're going to take this out to 6 inches and then start adding another row. And we'll just make a little dice bag. I think that'll be a good project. It won't use up all the titanium rings that I have in case I get inspiration to make something else. We making chainmail? We are making chainmail. We are using up rings and making useful things. There, I rhymed. That's got to be the highlight of my entertainment skills right there. Come on. This is a cluster. Goodness. There we go. So I think this will be a dice bag. We'll see what happens. I was so happy with the dice bag I made the other day that if I can make one more and then anodize it, I think that would be super cool. I really should just spend the money and get the large anodizer and do everything in-house for that, because I know that once I start anodizing stuff, I could focus my efforts and get really good at it. And that would allow me to make really cool stuff. Like if I got a laser, I could focus my energy and use it to make really cool stuff. So, or use it to engrave really cool stuff. All right. Oh, I gotta reposition. We won't have any silverware that's not anodized. I mean, we'll have to get titanium silverware. The stainless stuff we have now doesn't anodize, unfortunately. It would be really cool if stainless steel was able to be anodized, but holy crap. Okay. Wonder if that ring size would make a good hacky sack. Maybe we'll do that. I'm gonna bounce off. Day night. Good to see you streaming again, Sean. Good to see you too, Peg. Have fun on your date. Enjoy yourself. If you don't know Peg, she's really cool. She has those ropes that have the flaming knives on the end of them. So don't piss her off. Almost 5.5 now. All right. Splurge your money, get the anodizer, make cool stuff, right? That's how it works. And these are my only titanium rings, so I would have to order more in order to... I don't know what the cost difference is between anodized and unanodized rings. I don't think it's much, but... And also, here's the thing too, right? If I do order anodized titanium rings and I have the same problem that I had with the rings in this cube, I could re-anodize them and it won't be that big of a deal, right? So there's that. Not that if I had an anodizer I wouldn't order anodized rings, because I would just make them myself or anodize them once I had them. So there. Okay. Not all the burrs are gone, but most of them are. That makes these somewhat usable. I'll tumble, once this project is all together, I will tumble it again, see if we can't smooth it down. Four, 5, almost done with 5 inches. Wow, that's no good. That's a no good ring. Okay, if you buy an anodizer on Temu, is it called a cathodizer? I have no idea. I would not. I'd have a hard time rationalizing purchasing electrical equipment off of Temu, which is that's the whole crux of my issue. I could get a cheap anodizer from Temu and use it once and it would anodize these small titanium products that I have, or I can spend a significantly larger amount on a spendier version of an anodizer. So, and have it for multiple projects. So, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer to that is. But I also don't know anything about Temu. Peter Bartol shared the live video. Thank you so much. Thank you for the share. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the follows. We're just hanging out, making some chainmail. If you're interested in learning about making chainmail, you can always start by downloading the Mailworks app, which gives a list of resources in all sorts of categories, like groups that make chainmail, tutorial, where to find tutorials, where to find supplies, And there's a story for you. So Google changed their settings and your app has to be up to date, and I had submitted the app, but I didn't click all the right boxes, and so when I went to go double check, there was still some paperwork to be finished. But then there was something that my app wasn't updated on, and so that needs to be addressed. But I thought that it was good to go, and I was just waiting for a Google review, but nope, I needed to go and press some buttons. So now I gotta wait another week in order to find out what's wrong and then fix that, and it's available. You can go, if you don't have a brand new phone, you can go to the link and download it now. If you have a new phone, it doesn't comply with the new Android standards for Google. You shouldn't be having an issue on iPhone, right? So just newer Android phones for right now. I'll get that fixed. It's being fixed. I am aware. Someone contacted me and was interested in adding they were thinking they would be adding products to an existing platform, kind of like you do on Etsy, as opposed to just being a collection of websites in the artisan section where all the people who I know that have websites for and make chainmail and take commissions and stuff in the artisan section. That's what it looks like. It's just a list of people who make chainmail and people who take commissions and stuff like that. And this person was thinking it was more like a e-commerce platform where they could list their products, which would be cool to do, to make an Etsy specific for chainmail, basically. That's what it would be. 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Okay. G-Bands83 followed the host. Thank you for the follow. So that is actually what I should do. I should make it so that people can list their products on the app. Have you made a patch of chainmail like your logo? May have just missed it if it was on TikTok. I don't think you can see the logo on TikTok. Whoa, what am I doing? Yeah, the logo is only on all the other platforms that you can stream on. Are you talking about the rotating one up in the corner? Or just the one down at the bottom of the screen? Because either way, neither of them are on TikTok. They will be once I hit 10,000 followers and can stream using streaming software or even TikTok Live. I hear it's has a lot of things to be desired about it. Oh yeah, the one at the bottom. Yeah, that's. I can only go live from my phone on TikTok, so I can't add anything cool like, oh, I don't know, my second camera, my third angle there. What happened to my slideshow? So I'm what box webcam logo. What in the world? See, this is weird. I had a slideshow running in the bottom right hand corner of where I'm regularly streaming, and now it's not there. No. That's weird, because it was... Huh. It's like it just disappeared off the planet. That's what we in the Zelda fandom like to call a love. Nice. At the bottom. You mean a physical version. I have not made a physical version of my logo. Well, that's not true. Okay. Hang on a second. Hang on a second and I'll explain. Excuse me, okay. This right here right, that is what my logo is based off of, right? And a artist friend of ours went and did the two-dimensional version of it that you see on all of my stuff, right? But it's based off this 4 sections of Byzantine with a ring holding it all together right down in there. So yes, I have made this, right? What I haven't made is like an inlay of the 2D logo, which I've thought about doing. Oh, excuse me. It would be that would be a fun project to do, but that would be one that I would have to absolutely draw out beforehand. I'm not going to freehand that one because I've spent enough time of my life trying to figure out freehanded inlays, and it takes a long time. You spend up like triple the time freehanding the inlay than it would if you just did the prep work in the beginning. And I'm speaking from experience. Where are we at here? Five and 7/8. No. 5/16. No. 9/16. 5 and 9/16. So I like to make keychains out of these, and this is chainmail Cabo 76. I like to make keychains out of these and add these to my wallet chains and stuff. So we just finished up this cube earlier today, and we were gonna add these titanium rings to the cube, but they're not only are they a different grade, I don't have enough of them to add to the cube to make it worthwhile. So, and now we're making on what could potentially become a dice bag. We're gonna see how it works out. We're about to start adding another row here. Looks satisfying. Nice job. Thank you. It is satisfying. You just sit here, chill, stream, watch a podcast, talk to people, and weave rings as you go into something cool. And when you're done, you got yourself a little dealio that you can do whatever with. Juggling balls and cubes and hacky sacks, and you can make, there's nothing you can't make with chainmail. I have a bunch of videos, right? They make shark suits out of videos. They make giant screens for covering up skyscrapers and parking garages to reduce the heat, right? I mean, they make all kinds of stuff out of chainmail. Lunar rover wheels, right? Those were attempted at one point. Neptunic shark suits. Did I mention that? So that's some of the industrial applications, but you can make just anything you want. You got sheet weaves and chain weaves and three-dimensional weaves. right? Like this 4-in-1 strip that I'm touching right here, that's a sheet weave, and then you have weaves like Byzantine that are chain weaves, and then 3-dimensional sculptural weaves like this cube. Sounds calming as hell. It definitely can be. Yeah, man, that ring is no good. It can be calming and therapeutic. It's really, like, the only time it's really frustrating for me recently has been when I made a mistake on this cube and had to take a bunch of it apart and then put it all back together, right? And then the other time it gets really frustrating is when I have been working on freehanding an inlay, and it's my fault because I didn't take the time to do the proper prep work to know what I was doing beforehand, and so I'm just sitting there with different colored rings guessing as to what it'll look like when I place the next ring. That gets frustrating sometimes, but I did work through a pretty big inlay last 2 years ago, and I'm currently in the process of working through another one. So, and then it's frustrating when you don't have the right ring size. That's always a pain in the ass, but that is what it is. The rest of the time, you're just sitting here opening and closing rings and weaving and making stuff, and I wasn't paying attention and I went over 6 inches. By how much? Okay, we're gonna do this. Then it's frustrating when you're not paying attention and you screw up and have to take it apart. I don't actually have to take this apart, I'm just gonna do that real quick. And where is it? Now we're going to start expanding this out into the next row. Now we're at 6 inches, so the diameter of this, I guess it's going to be 3 inches. I think I probably should cut this down now. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh, you're fine. Anytime I'm streaming, it's always a distraction, you know, regardless, because you're trying to monitor for comments, make sure everything's working. Do not worry about that. If it was something, if I had like to be working with surgical precision on this, you know, I wouldn't be streaming, but it's just a thing. It's just a project. It's nothing serious. All right. So how's everyone doing tonight? What are you guys up to? Besides hanging out with me. I do appreciate y'all being here. Has anyone here ever made chainmail before, besides the ones I know? I know certain people have. What did you make? What do you like making? What I was going to say. I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to say something. I was going to continue on talking about things that you can make with chainmail. Because it's really, once you get a handle on a few different weaves, you're good to go. you can just go and freely make whatever you want. And sometimes it turns out really cool, and sometimes it turns out like crap, but you can attempt to make anything. So baskets and business card holders. I've seen castles, sculptures like ducks and dragons and pigs, and the people who do sculptures that stuff blows my mind. It's like, that's cooler than anything I've ever made. I don't know why, but for some reason I ended up doing a lot of like coffee cup wraps and bottle wraps and things like that, right? I'm trying to make sure that we're not losing screen coverage here. All right. Yeah, a lot of bottle wraps and coffee cup wraps, and that was kind of my thing for quite a while. I actually have another bottle over there to wrap. Gotta come up with a good idea for it. Where are we at here? We're at 9 o'clock. Okay, we've gotten this much done in an hour, right? And that's not a lot. When I was talking about working on this cube last night, we were thinking, doing the math on some of it and guessing that I probably have 35 to 40 hours in this cube, right? And it's somewhere between 150 to 200 rings an hour. And if I'm looking at this strand right here, I have no idea how many rings are in it. I'm not going to count them up, but there is no, like, there's a couple tricks. Many people open their rings prior to weaving, and I can't stand doing that. I've tried it. Many people will make little 4-in-1 clusters and then weave them all together to speed weave. European 4-in-1. I don't really see the point. I just go one ring at a time. And then somehow or another, we get to the end of a project and it's all done. You have to open your rings if they're nested tangled rings. If it's only a few here and there, you don't. No, man. No, I don't want, just like with inlays where I don't want to spend time prepping to figure out the right way to go about doing it. Right. I don't want to spend time opening rings. I don't want to spend time making rings. I want to weave rings into whatever it is that I'm making. You have some bags that's 200 rings in a nest, can't just shake them out. Yeah, no, I get it. When it's that extreme, you know, I'll definitely be opening up a few, but in general, I know people who count out the number of rings they need for something, open up one half, and then start weaving. And I've seen many people do that. And I could not. You would not rebuy those size if it was not for them being Whitney Blacks or glass rings. Yeah. Yeah, I need to buy some more of those too. I need to buy some blackened titanium, some, what else? Some gecko rings from Josh. Just, you know, cool rings. There was, who was it? Masterlinks Mail. Greg from Masterlinks Mail had these rings that were, it looked like an oil slick. Titanium rings that looked like an oil slick. Those were really cool. Kind of this iridescent sheen to them. Which is another reason why I don't mind purchasing rings, because I don't know what their secrets are, and I'm not sure if I want to spend the time researching in order to find out. That seems like money invested that I don't know how well that would go, because I don't know what I'm doing. I would be literally guessing from the ground up, trying to figure out how they get those cool colored rings, and it's just like, it's just easier to buy them. So, but anodizing is fairly simple. I've seen it done many times, and there's plenty of guides out there on how to do it. So that I'm not nearly nearly as concerned about. That ring's no good. It's almost cut halfway through. All right. You wear off anodizing yourself, and what do you do with them exotic sponge styles? You take it apart, re-anodize, and reweave? I don't know. You would not rebuy those size if it was not from the... Yeah, okay. Well, I stick to the age-old mantra that I've stuck with for quite a while, in that I don't buy any more anodized rings for the most part, because they do wear down. But it does take a while. It's not, even anodized aluminum is not overnight. I would buy anodized aluminum rings for static pieces primarily. But I've had, let's see here. This is a blackened Whitney black glass rings. Right? And there's no wear or tear on this. It's the same color as it was when I got it. So can't really tell on the overhead camera, can you? That's black compared to the stainless steel that I'm holding it next to. Oh, right. Whitney's black glass rings, they're not anodized. You're right. All right. We might get through this second row before the end of the night. which will be a good start on whatever this project is. Right, I think it's going to be a dice bag. Like I said, might have to cut down the size a little bit more, but I don't want to make a super large dice bag using all the rings I have. I could probably squeeze 2 dice bags out of the rings I have on hand at a minimum. Is the cube done? The cube is as done as it's going to get for right now. Right? So I don't know if you were here earlier when I was talking about it, but the cube is at 9 by 9 by 9 rows per side, right? There's over 7,000 rings in it. If I tried to use these titanium rings that I'm working with right here on the cube, I only have enough to add one half of a row. So one layer on each side of the cube, right? I was weighing them out, and there's only about 3,500 rings, and I would need 2,800 rings to cover each side with one row. And as I began working with these titanium rings here, there's a grade difference between these anodized ones and this unanodized titanium. So I was trying to rationalize going further on the cube, but it's really just, it's done. You know, it's as done as it's going to get. I'm not going to put more money into it, you know, so I'm going to either buy an anodizer and anodize it in-house, or I will ship it off to a friend of mine to have it anodized. I haven't decided yet. Do I need an anodizer? No, but I want one for just to have one around. Do I want to spend lots of money on a new anodizer? Not particularly. But if I buy one, I'd rather do the buy once, cry once than buy a cheap one that breaks after my first time using it. Or after the first year, you know. I have no idea about the quality of anodizers. It's not my wheelhouse, really. Makes perfect sense. He was probably here when you said it. He likely just missed it. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind reiterating it. That was the crazy thing about last night is, on TikTok there were almost, I think the stream summary said 650 people averaged over 4-minute viewing time, which is really cool, right? And we had a bunch of people asking similar questions. What are you doing? What is that? How long does it take? How many hours have you been working on it? You know, and so I was trying to keep up with the number of people asking similar questions, and it's just part of when you're streaming and people got questions, it just is what it is, you know. You try to answer everyone's question, and then when there's a question that kind of sounds like it might be a little rude or contentious, you know, you just try to take it with as much grace as you can and figure that they're probably not trying to sound like they're coming across in text, and just answer nicely. can hear my son laughing hysterically upstairs. Last night he threw, at the beginning of when I started streaming last night, he came down here and thought he'd be funny by chucking string cheese at me. And I almost smacked the crap out of him on camera. But I didn't. I restrained myself. I didn't even beat my child off camera. But he was firmly instructed not to come downstairs while I was streaming tonight, so. He came downstairs and yelled, "Cheese stick attack," and then chucked a cheese stick at my head. Which I would have found funny had I not been streaming. He and I are going to go get haircuts tomorrow. From right there, what does that look like? Are we lagging, or is that just me? Never know. That looks okay. Alrighty. Oh, I was going to check one thing. Now, you know what I could do? Here's an interesting thought. These rings are a good size for making interwoven 4-in-1. I wonder if I could make some elf weave with them and make like some little beads and then anodize those. Put them on like lanyards or something. I don't know. Nah, maybe not. They're still a little. The edges are a little sharp. I don't think that's a good idea. Which is the problem with these rings, is like they had giant barbs on them. The barbs have been removed, but they're still a bit where the ends of the rings are. They're still a bit off, a little sharp to the touch. Can't use them for jewelry, which is what I bought them for. So that's why we're using them up on other projects, like cubes and dice bags. Things that don't need to be perfect as compared with jewelry that goes up against your skin. You definitely don't want any edges or barbs or anything when you're making jewelry. You wanted to make scale mail, but you can't quite figure it out. You can, however, do linear scale mail just fine. But everyone can probably... Okay, you're talking about when laying the scales in a straight line. So scale mail is just Euro 4-in-1, what I'm making right here, where the hole on the scale just acts as the center ring. I've got some of that I need to work on. That'll be a project. 2 of them, actually, that we'll do. There's one of those mini things that I have down here that I purchased but never made anything out of, so... You understand that, but you can't visualize it? Yeah. No, it's understandable. Any of that... Once you do it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, of course that's the way. Right? Like with most chainmail weaves, it's like, oh, yeah, of course it does that. Why couldn't I figure it out? It's so easy now. I've got to figure out, I don't have to, but I want to figure out Moorish rows. I've tried figuring it out before, and I was like, what is this? So, it's a really complicated weave that I don't know how to make, but it's really cool, and I want to make it, so... I also don't think I have the right ring size. I think I get the concept, and when I attempted to make it, I was following the tutorial correctly. However, I did not have the right ring size. That might be what you try and tackle after your current shirt. You should do it. I want to take the scales that I have and make some pauldrons with them for the shirts that I have. One of the shirts that I have. I don't really want a scale mail shirt anymore. So, half scale shirt? I don't know. I'll figure it out. I see scales combined with chainmail fairly often, and I don't know, I don't care for how a lot of it works out. Like something's off about it, you know. So when I put the scales that I have together, I will figure out what it is and make it look nice, I hope. What else we got to work on? We've got really long chains that we're making to use up rings for no reason, no other reason than that, right? We've got belts and guitar straps that I got to work on. Saddlebag covers for my saddlebags on my Road King. Gonna be working on that. Do I make armor? I have made armor. I have 3 shirts and a vest. How you doing tonight, King Lock? BX Supreme 5, thank you for the follow. But yes, I've made armor. Will make armor in the future. I want to take apart the shirts that I have, at least one of them. And make it so that I just have a bunch of straps going across the chest, as opposed to it being one tube of chainmail that I'm doing all right. Thank you for the follow. One tube of chainmail that I wiggle into to I don't know what I do when I put on my chainmail. When I try to attend a Renaissance festival in costume, there. But I want to make them more comfortable, more wearable. So probably gonna be doing taking them apart. That's someday. I say that, but like everything, one day we'll get to it. We'll do fancy leather work around the collar and all the edges and everything, and maybe add some buckles, buttons, and zippers. And you don't happen to have the largest scale size that TRL offers? The biggest you have is, hang on, let me weave this real quick, and then I can read. I can't read while I weave because the biggest I have is a large, hoping to make the Zora armor from Twilight Princess eventually, but the large scales seem too small. What I have, hang on. So I have 2 ring sizes. And we'll just 2 ring sizes. I have 2 scale sizes. These are the large scales that I know of. I don't have anything else to compare them to. And then these are the small scales that I have. Right, so you can see a size comparison there. Your Ren Fair are always in the summer, and if you wear a chain, you'll die. Yeah, ours is too. I'm at Bristol, and it's June to August, July to August, something like that. You know how people wore that stuff? They died a lot of them. This is the largest scale I have, and that's the smallest. And they make smaller and medium size. There's 2 other sizes in existence that I know of, right? You think you have both of those? Yeah. We'll get to these 2 projects eventually. Yeah, one of the second to last time I went to the Renaissance Festival, it was the hottest, most humid day of the year. And we were all dying. It didn't matter what you wore. You could have, just a loincloth, and it would have been bad. It was just miserable. With a good gamison and the right amount of hydration, you could probably survive a day of walking around the Ren Fair, but you're like a Swiss Army knife of mail projects. I have just purchased a lot of stuff and tried starting a lot of stuff, and then got deeply into projects and neglected a bunch of projects. I moved around a lot. I have projects that I'm trying to finish from when I was in the military. I have projects that I'm trying to finish from when I was in college. There's lots and lots of projects that, don't get me wrong, I've finished much more than what I have sitting here unfinished, right? All right, where are we at? Oh, 9:28. $9.28. That's not bad. Got this piece 5 rows wide now. Let's start working on one more row. That's not titanium. That is aluminum. A lot of the projects were stuff that I started and I didn't have the rings to finish. I have a lot of those sitting around, and I didn't get back to them in time to get the right ring sizes, so I have to turn them into something else, which is a lot of what I'm doing here. Just figure out something to make out of the rings I have on hand and go from there. So I got a whole ledge of finished projects. Probably, I don't know, 500,000 rings of finished stuff. It was hailing at the beginning of the Ren Fair season when you went last year. It was so cold. Your wife was wrapped in a wool blanket. It has since been turned into a hooded cloak. Very nice, very nice. Yeah. The last year I went, I think it was 2 years ago, it wasn't bad. It was hot, but it wasn't unbearable. And then I didn't go last year, and I didn't go this year. So oh, and I was going to mention, on top of the stuff that I have sitting on my window ledge, and on top of the stuff that, you know, I've finished and projects completed, I have sold a not insignificant amount of stuff that I finished as well. So yes, there are a lot of projects lying around, but usually the reason is that a lot of them were projects or were ring sizes that I didn't know what I was going to make with them, and so I just purchased them and tried to make something out of them, and it either did or didn't work out, you know. 2208. Thank you for share, Eve Berry. Joseph Free. I don't know what 2208 means, but oh, I had a closed ring on here. What happened to it? Did I not have a closed ring on there? I'm hallucinating. Anyway, there's. It's pretty unusual for Arizona to be hailing and cold and windy. Yeah, sometimes I'm in Wisconsin next to Lake Michigan. We will get just metric tons of humidity coming across the plains, and being close to the lake doesn't help. And that year we just had a ton of humidity going, rolling across the area. It's like 1,000% humidity and 200 degrees Fahrenheit. 2,208, that's how many rings are in the cube. There's at least that many for sure. There are at least 2,208 rings in this cube. They're all doubled up. So it's 9 rows by 9 rows by 9 rows. It's a good guess. The most accurate way to get a ring count for me right now is to weigh it, but then there's also a mathematical formula for figuring out exactly how many there are. I have a ring under my fingernail. Get out of there. right now. Let's see here. I've got a lot of project to finish. And I've got a welder. So we're going to weld stuff. That'll be fun. Make really strong chainmail for no real reason. Other than that we can. Get a laser engraver, ringinator, anodizer, pulse welder, and I'll just sit down here and make stuff, and people can hang out and watch and ask questions. What I don't want to do is not finish these projects, not use up these rings. So, and I don't want to sit down here by myself, and you are a patient man. Thank you. I like to think so. It doesn't, okay. It looks like it takes a lot of patience, and then it's really tenacious, and it looks like that, but it's really not. Once you get the hang of it, you're just chilling, listening to music or a podcast or talking on a stream, and you know, it's give something for your hands to do while your attention's elsewhere. A welded pan scrubber. Okay, so I have a video coming up about that, and I'll talk about that later. Pan scrubbers. They're a thing. They exist. I've made one. It's not welded. You can definitely make a welded one, just because they don't need to be welded. I remain thoroughly unconvinced about how well they clean. I've never cleaned with mine. I've never cleaned a cast iron pot with the one that I have. And I was like, okay, let me make one. My neighbor of mine asked me to make her one, so I made her one, and then I made myself one as well. And those are the only two I've ever made. I have thoughts and feelings, strong thoughts and strong feelings about pan scrubbers. I'm not going to say whether good or bad, but I've only made two, and it was an interesting experience. Like I said, I've never cleaned with it or anything. I don't own a cast iron pan, so here, hang on a sec. Oh, let me grab that for you. So I've got mine, just a E4-in-1 diamond with my logo on there, this piece, right? Made one for myself and one for my neighbors, and these are 18 gauge 7 something, 7/16, something like that. Saw a sponge wrapped in chainmail. I have seen those. Went to a friend's house the other day, and they had one in the kitchen sink. I was like, oh, I know what that is. Say what are the, trying to think of the name of the pots and pans we have now. It was whatever Gordon Ramsay was selling on TikTok, right? We got those last Christmas, and they're very nice pans, pots and pans. Don't get me wrong. I could probably use a chainmail scrubber on there. I don't think it would damage them in any way. But they're so easy to clean, right? Super easy. Ray Lyons, thank you for sharing the video. For sharing the live. So I think what I'll do, this will be a 3-inch diameter dice bag. Maybe cut it down to 2.5-inch diameter. Maybe not, I don't know. This seems like a decent size for an opening for a dice bag. Make it long enough and then close it up at the top. Make it nice looking, whatnot. Like the other small dice bag I made. And then etch it. Send it off to be etched and anodized by someone else, or do it myself. I don't know. I think we'll leave it at 3 inches diameter. And then take that and go, what, 6 inches in depth. We'll have to see how it looks. That might actually use up a whole lot of rings, which is fine. Using them up anyway. And after I get done with these titanium rings, right, I've got these, the remainder of the brass and bronze rings that I have. I've used up almost all the rest of what I have. These are 22 gauge 1/8 rings. They're thinner than the rings I'm working with now, right? They're like half the thickness of the rings I'm working with now. And you can make a nice European 6-in-1 with them. And what I want to do is make a ring of rings, or some ringception, if you will. Kind of the way I did the Byzantine square out of Byzantine the other day. If you go back in my profile, you'll see. If you go back in my videos, you'll see square of Byzantine made out of Byzantine chains. It was pretty cool. And I want to do that with these brass and bronze rings next. But they feel tiny. They seem a lot tinier than I remember. And I am older. I'm much older, and so I'm not as my eyesight isn't as good as it once was. So it's hard to see whether or not I have good closures on these small rings right here, much less something with a thickness half the size of these rings. And I've got rings to make. I want to make a coif for my son. Got some aluminum rings for that. Just rings I bought that I don't have any intention of using. Lots of stuff to make and finish. You know, plenty of stuff that I can stream for quite a while before getting it all done. Thank you for the follow, Elroy. Elroy. Isn't that the name of the son in the Jetsons? It's Elroy, right? I don't know an Elroy in real life. Well, now I do. All right. What is today's Friday, right? Yeah, Elroy Jetson. That's the guy's name. The kid's name in the Jetsons. And Judy, the wife, and what is the maid's name? The robot maid. I haven't seen any of those cartoons in forever, so... I'm not going to make it to the end tonight. How much does what weigh? This piece I'm working on right here or this cube? Just clarifying. I think both are in frame. Rosie, that's the name of the maid. Thank you, Jeep and Jammer. The cube. We can weigh the cube real quick. I don't think I weighed it after I got done working on it earlier today. Alright, let's see here. Okay. Trying to make sure that I've got the front cap. Okay. Turned on. Zero it out. $7.4 ounces is how much it weighs. Is it heavy? It's about half a pound. Oh, a little over half a pound. That's, I can't read that. No. No pounds, yeah. Fluid ounces, grams, milliliters, and then pounds per ounce. It's not even a pound. This says 7.7 ounces. That's probably what I should go with, 7.7 ounces, and count the rings that way. 2,304. Okay, so the cube. Let's pull my calculator up. According to the Ringlord website where I got these rings, there's 947 rings per ounce times 7.7 ounces. That's 7,292 rings. And that's going to be a little bit off, most likely, because these rings are really old, and the current 20 gauge 1/8 rings from the Ringlord are a little, they're truer to size. They're a true 1/8 of an inch, as opposed to these, which are not. So there's a little weight difference between the rings you'd currently get, but 947 rings per ounce is probably within 10 rings of this ring size, right? So 7,200 rings roughly. You got to go live again, Lal? The only way you seem to get work done on the mail? Yeah, man, do it. I streamed a lot a couple years ago, and then my computer decided to delete half of itself, and I had a lot of work done on that, and that cost a lot of money, and then I was just burnt out trying to get it to work. And even today when I hopped on stream, my my microphone wasn't working, and I went to the audio output, and it had a what do you call it, in the area where I went to select my microphone, it had something selected that I did not, or it had a device selected that I did not know what it was. So dealing with that, or little problems like that, I've been going live at least a few times now, and haven't had any issues with the microphone. And then all of a sudden tonight it's like, oh, there's no volume. Okay, so got burnt out doing stuff like that, but I'm trying to get back into streaming regularly. I do have a tendency to get a lot of work done on most of the chainmail products that I work on during the day. I'm just sitting here. If I don't have stuff to do on my honey-do list, like mow the lawn or clean the house, then I get a lot of stuff done. Just working down here. What happened to my music? See, talking about problems with the software and oh, and then connection issues all the time. But yeah, you should definitely go live and get some chainmail done. What is happening? I don't know what happened to my music. Internet seems to be good. I wonder if it just quit. Sometimes it does that. And you have to go in. Oh, hey, it's working. You have to go in and reset the whole what do you call it? The whole plugin, the whole Pretzel Rocks app. Gotta reset that and Then it'll start working again. You get the most mail done when you're streaming. You just watch, chat, and mail along. There you go. It's the way to do it. So there's not a lot of chainmail artists in the world, period. So the more chainmail that is made, the better off society it will be. I'm thoroughly convinced. Because you got a bunch of people like me making things that, like cubes. It's not going to save society, but society needs it. Trying to self-aggrandize my own importance here. Someone last night was talking about how long this cube would last. And, you know, well over 100 years. And once it's anodized, it's going to go on the window ledge with the rest of my chainmail collection. But it'd be cool to, it's going to be cool to pass on just a large collection of chainmail to my son. Almost 10 o'clock. All right. See if I can finish this row real quick. Couple more rings, and then if you are interested in learning more about chainmail, a good place to start is the Mailworks app, which you can find in the link tree. If you have a new Android phone, you might have trouble downloading the app. I am working on that with Google. It should be up and ready to go in hopefully less than a week, but their review process always takes forever. So, if you're interested in learning more, please go check out the Mailworks app. There's a ton of resources in there for people to find tutorials, other people that make chainmail, different ring manufacturers, and even if you're not interested in learning about how to make chainmail, there is a section in there for chainmail artists. And if you like chainmail and want to add it as part of your life, you can go to the artists or the artisan section in the app and find a chainmail artist who makes something you like. And if you like what you're seeing and enjoy hanging out, you can go check out mailworks.com. That's my website. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories on there. And it's loads of fun. So we did get, what is this, 7 rows wide now? Let's see here. All right, let's see here. we got this much done. Just a strip of titanium. Looks like a watch band. It's, if only the rings were quality enough that I could turn it into a watch band. There is just too many sharp ends on this, but it would make a nice watch band, especially if it was anodized. That'd be so cool. Looks like loads of work. It can be. A lot of different projects can take a ton of time. You know, that probably took 30, 40 hours. So, thank you to everyone for hanging out. Please do check out the app. Check out my store if you want to see more of this. It's going to be around time I need to get everything ready for tomorrow. And so, please watch, or please follow along. And I try to update all my projects at least once a day. Usually later in the evening after I've gotten some work done on them. And you've been a wonderful crowd. You're beautiful. So give yourselves a round of applause. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up, and I will talk to all of you later. All right. So everyone on TikTok, you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye. All right, for everyone on all of the other platforms that I'm streaming on, thanks so much for hanging out. I do appreciate you being here. Please check out the app. If you like what you see, check out the store. Purchase something that helps support me and keeps me doing what I do. In the meantime, please continue to follow along. I do appreciate you all being here. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm everywhere on the internet at Mailworks. And you guys, too, all have a lovely evening. All right. Now we'll talk.